It's another episode of Your Retirement Elevated. I'm Walter Storholt alongside financial advisor Scott Dugan of Elevated Retirement Group, helping folks get to and through retirement successfully. Scott, looking forward to today's show with you, the 5 must-dos in year one of retirement. And we're going to talk a little bit about why it's so important to do these things in year one. Like, why can't we do them in year 2, year 3, year 4? And why is this so critical? So I'm looking forward to diving into that with you. First on our list is to learn how to adjust financially. Why do we dive right into adjustment being such an important thing to do during that first year?
The go-go years are for real. You know, we want energy, we want to travel, we want to do our bucket list adventures. And so we want to make sure we can adjust financially to that, because that's where that overspending and forming bad habits can come into play if you're not careful. And the opposite of that, underspending and missing out on joy, that's the opposite end of the spectrum. And we got an example of that, actually, of clients that came in today. Within the first year of retirement, there are 8 trips in 2025.
8. All right.
8. And not all of them were large, but some of them are pretty big, like bucket list type things.
Yeah.
And things were going well. And out of the blue, there was a big expenditure that came up that they had to kind of put money down on something. So it was over $100,000 surprise to do that. So they came in and said, "Hey, are we going to be okay? What do we need to do?" I said, "No, hey, we knew these were going to be the go-go years. We've always built in a war chest or a safety net in case something happens. What we're going to do, we're going to fill back up your emergency fund to get it back to where you're comfortable." And we were already going to start guaranteed cash flow in the month of October. And so again, we flexed a little bit. We filled up that emergency fund, so they are good. They don't have to worry. They've got plenty of money there. The cash flow on a guaranteed basis between one Social Security check and the money coming in from the portfolio, they're good. And so they're not going to have to artificially, tighten the belt per se because of that, curveball that life threw at them. So again, you got to balance enjoyment and financial responsibility at the same time. We're very fortunate, the families that we take care of, they already have those good habits. We're just there to guide them through to make, rational, fact-based, non-emotional decisions about their retirement.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And you can imagine just how life is going to change from working years to first year of retirement, all the things that you want to implement right away. I know a lot of that can be planned for in advance, Scott, and it's always what we encourage, but let's be prepared in year one to make those adjustments, because sometimes things don't go according to plan, as what happened to that couple. And so have that flexibility. And I love what you said, balance, enjoyment, and financial responsibility. So key,
Absolutely.
so important. All right. Well, how about must-do number 2? Establish a sustainable income plan. So that first one's kind of looking at that spending equation. That's what I'm thinking of when we talk about adjusting in first year of retirement. It's how much are we going to end up actually spending? Well, now we need to also make sure we're establishing this income plan. Now, this one, I sure hope we've done a lot more of that prep on the front end. But what are we kind of doing in that year one? Are we just kind of keeping tabs with how the plan's going?
Well, and that's a great point. And why this establishing a sustainable income plan? We want to do that in advance. That's not something that we figure out on the fly after you've retired. And we have a new family that came on board with us. They're with a very large national firm, been with them, rated them very high on a scale of 1 to 10. And so I'm looking at them like, wow, you've given your current advisor a really high mark.
Yeah.
Here, I said, do you mind telling me, why are we talking? I said, well, when you talked about the 5 areas of planning, we gave them an 8 in the investment side. Well, they don't do the other 4, and we want to have a solid plan. And we've approached them about, hey, should we put a plan together? Their answer was, hey, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. We'll do that closer to retirement. Well, the reality is, they want to know when they can retire. They don't want to wait 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. They'd rather do it in the next year or 2, or at least one of them do that. And so again, I think this sustainable income plan, we need to have a good idea of what we're going to need to spend in retirement, because that what allows us to generate that retirement paycheck. And that's for that peace of mind, because when we retire, we want to have peace of mind that we can spend confidently, remain independent when your job is optional at that point. And you definitely, when you're building a sustainable income plan, you definitely want to account for market volatility, which we've already seen that this year. So that, when tariffs got launched, markets were a little bit crazy. Now we've leveled out. Now who knows what the end of the year is going to bring? But there's always going to be some sort of market volatility. So we always want a plan of action, a smart place to take that money when the market reacts. We need to keep up with inflation, and we also need to account for longevity risk. What's that mean? It means that right now, if we live a long, long life, that's going to expose us to what? Probably more market volatility, more incidents of probably you could see illness or hip replacement, knee replacement, things like that. If you have a 10, 20, 30-year retirement, you're going to face a lot more things. But for a lot of our clients, knowing their monthly paycheck is always going to be there allows them to spend freely without guilt. And again, have that confidence to, if they're trying to decide if they're going to leave their job and go into retirement, they want to know, am I going to be okay? Is our money going to last as long as we do? Are we going to be able to absorb a curveball like healthcare if it throws at us? If one of the kids or grandkids needs something, are we going to be able to take from our plan? Is that going to jeopardize it? People want to have those discussions and make sure they're in good shape, headed on the right path.
So you've got some people that go into retirement with maybe a nice nest egg, and maybe they even must do number one, right? They adjust their spending. They kind of take a close look at some of those things in year one. But if they don't have number two established, what you're saying is a lot of people are kind of shooting from the hip, maybe just taking big withdrawals from accounts, saying, "Oh, the market's up. Maybe I should withdraw a bunch this year." Maybe, but they're not really thinking about tax complications, and so there's no sustainable, regular, predictable monthly income that's coming in like when they had the paycheck. It's a lot of like individual decisions being made constantly throughout the year, and I can imagine that's where it gets people in trouble. So that's why this is really a must do number two for anybody who's serious about retirement.
Absolutely, and having that, I've seen the difference over almost 25 years. The people that say, "Oh, I'll just call when we need money." Well, that 50,000 here, 100,000 here, that is not the best route to go unless you've got, really strong pension, really strong Social Security, cash flow coming in. But there's a substantial difference for the clients that have every month, like clockwork, along with their maybe two Social Security checks, there's a deposit, from Fidelity going in there like a paycheck. And yes, we're always going to potentially need to draw money out. We call it, one time a discretionary withdrawal. But the highest level of success and confidence comes from a consistent paycheck being deposited, because it's like you said, it's just like having, back at work, that money's coming in, my cash flow is going to be there. Because if you say, "Hey, I'm just going to take a withdrawal here and there," well, what if we're all in the market and you suddenly need $100,000 and it's like the first of the year and the market's down, 7, 8, 9, 10%. Is that a great time to take out $100,000 from your portfolio? It may not be. So again, consistency is the key here.
Is your retirement strategy working as hard as you are? Get the answers you deserve with Elevated Retirement Group's information-packed toolkit. Inside, you'll get Scott's book, Exceptional Retirement, along with essential insights covering the 5 key areas of retirement planning, strategies to keep more of your hard-earned money, and how to choose your winning retirement team. Take control of your retirement today. Click the link in today's show description to claim your toolkit at no cost to you.
Makes total sense. It takes us to number 3. So we've had 2 must-dos that are very financial. This one's not so much. Must-do number 3 is pursue a purpose. And this one's easy to figure out the why this needs to be on the list. A lot of us find purpose in our work. And so when you retire, you lose that, and we've got to find something to replace it with.
Absolutely. Because work provides built-in goals, and we can find significance from that. We can find value if we have people that depend on us to answer questions, to guide, to mentor. And so, retirement can feel like every day is Saturday. And one of the greatest comments that one of our clients made after he sold his business, our client Mark, he said, I ran a business for 40 years and very successful business. And he said, I decided to treat retirement with the same energy and focus, and I wanted to excel at retirement. and he is doing it. He is enjoying himself. And it's in ways that when I say excelling, whether it's gardening, growing vegetables for the first time, doing house projects, making sure that they cover their bases on trips and having fun and doing all those things, like that, his new job is excelling at retirement. And I think it's a perfect way to really have goals and find that significance and really gather experiences that are fulfilling for you and your family. That's what that purpose means. And so it really revolves around really building a routine. And another client, he's a retired anesthesiologist. One of his comments earlier in retirement, he goes, Scott, what I do, that he and his wife, that our mornings are very scripted. It's kind of like Groundhog's Day.
Okay.
We get up, we drink our coffee, we take the dog for a walk, and then we go to the gym. We do our things because everything goes through lunchtime. So from getting up in the morning to lunchtime is pretty routine. And in the afternoon, that's where they have more flexibility. But that routine in the early part of the day really sets the stage. And there's probably a lot of you like me, I work out early in the morning. Why? Because I don't have any excuses to do that. If I wait till 5 or 6 at night, something's going to come up. I'm going to be hungry.
Yeah.
I'd rather do this or that. But when it's 5 a.m., like there are no other excuses besides the voice in your head. So it's important to have those activities, hobbies, volunteering. That volunteering, actually having a set schedule to go do something is good for people. But again, it's really about explore what's out there and find out what gives your days meaning and purpose. And so you feel good about what you're doing and how you're spending your time.
And I would suggest one little tidbit to add on to that, just from seeing my folks recently retire and some other families who have gone through retirement recently that we're friends with or know through family members. Plan to find purpose in more things than you would think. So don't just say, oh, I've got this one volunteer thing that's going to replace the work purpose. You're going to probably need more than that. So that's one thing I saw my dad kind of go through. He's volunteering with a group twice a week and has those commitments, but he's like, well, it's only 2 days out of the week. I need more. And so he's now looking for additional things that he can do, whether it be a part-time job, just to have some extra income and some of that fun of being engaged and helping people in some sort of way, or maybe just more volunteer opportunities and things like that. So that's what I suggest too, is plan over plan, right, for this purpose part of the equation.
Absolutely. And in that whole idea of, what's a perfect, setup? Oh, being on a beach and drinking margaritas. Well, that's good for a few days.
Yeah.
Okay. And so again, I believe we're built to do things. We're built to be engaged, built to use our minds, and then, built to pass on our knowledge. And so again, I think you're spot on. Be active, be engaged. Most of us don't do well with all leisure time.
Right.
We got to have something of value and meaning to it.
A few folks might do fine at it, but for the majority. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Love it. All right. Must do number 4 in your first year of retirement. Take stock of your health. This dovetails nicely off of the purpose conversation because we've got to think about this really smartly. Otherwise, it's going to be what you spend all your money and your time on in retirement if you're not careful.
Yeah. And I think you and I are both examples of this. We're fortunate that earlier in our lives, we realized that, and a lot of people that are watching, we can sacrifice our health in the pursuit of wealth and security.
Sure.
And looking back, I wish I wouldn't have done that. But it was unbelievable. I just made the decision one day that, hey, I'm going to get my health back. I want to eat better. I want to, work out a little bit differently. So I had just different priorities. And so if you've chased wealth and given up your health, the latter part of it is usually using your wealth to try to gain back your health or the free time that you have. And I can tell you, doing this for so long, I've got clients and I've got people that I know, extremely wealthy, multiple homes around the country, could do anything they wanted, but this people I'm thinking about, very, very successful. His wife has had health issue after health issue after health issue, and it's starting to, you can see it in him, where they would trade all of that money if they could just have health and longevity. And so I think that first year is really that idea to kind of reset. And, just like our client that we're talking about, Mark, excelling at retirement, I think he's down 45 pounds in the first year. He's got a concierge doctor, got all of his blood work done. He's just doing all these things that he said, hey, I negated these things for a long time, and now I'm going to focus on it. And that's really, that exercise. And exercise doesn't need to be grueling at a gym. Find an activity that you like. Maybe it's walking. Maybe it's playing pickleball like a lot of people. But whatever it is, have fun doing it. And if you can, looking at that, can you improve your sleep? Sleep is huge. If you can improve your sleep, your diet, daily activity, all those things compound. And what we really want to do is we want to make sure we've got life in our retirement years. We've got that vitality. And that's why we talk about those go-go years. That's like the starting gun going off. And we need to do all those things, within confines of our finances, because you just never know what is going to be around the corner as far as a health issue or something like that.
Yeah, great point, Scott. And you can see how this first year of retirement is really targeted at making sure you're living a well-balanced retirement life. Enough fun, enough taking care of responsibilities, refilling our purpose bucket, making sure that we're taking care of our health. It's all of those things coming together. Our fifth and final must-do during your first year of retirement is to test drive your long-term plans. If you didn't have the chance to do this during your working years, well, then the first year of retirement is a great opportunity for this. How are we really going to set the stage for the rest of our retirement? I know you've got some great examples of what test driving your long-term retirement plan means, though, Scott.
So, and it comes to this, a lot of people will consider, hey, should we downsize? Should we relocate? Should we snowbird? And the answer is, who knows what you want to do. But I think that's what allows you to experiment before committing. So an example, we got a client was in this week. They had bought a house in Naples, Florida years ago, and they traveled back and forth. They were retired and they started to spend their winters down there. Well, that real estate appreciated substantially, and they still have a house here in Kansas City. They said, hey, let's sell this. It's a great cash deal they're offering us. And so they took that $1.3 million from the sale of the home, pay the taxes on it, and just really put that in their nest egg. And they went about a year, and they spent about a week down there in Naples after they sold their house. Well, we met this week, and January, February, they're going to be there for 2 months, renting a place, just taking a tiny portion of the $1.3 million that they all got from the house and paying a friend rent for 2 months. They're down there. They have no headache. They're just writing a check, doing everything they want to do. So where they'd already committed to it, they cashed out and now are going back, but they're not committed to one place, not committed to one house. So rent a new place, try living smaller in your current situation, explore different communities. And again, with VRBO, Airbnb, all those things, you can really do a trial run on all this, because having that trial run helps, because it helps prevent costly, stressful mistakes.
So important to make sure that we avoid mistakes. If we were going to put one big umbrella over these five, right? Avoid mistakes in your first year, and you're going to be in great shape. We covered several areas where you can experience a mistake on the show today, but avoid all those mistakes at all costs.
So really, as we round up today, it's about that financial balance. Making sure you've got an income plan, find purpose in what you're doing, focus on your health, and test drive your future to see if that's really what you want. So again, that first year rule isn't about pressure. It's about being intentional. So use that first year wisely, and you'll set the tone for decades, hopefully, of freedom and fulfillment. So if you're watching, we encourage you, subscribe to the channel, forward this on to someone that may find value in it. Or if you're really thinking, hey, we like what you're talking about, if you've been listening for a while, you can always schedule a complimentary, no stress, no pressure consultation with one of our advisors. We'll go through our 5 areas of planning, and we will help you figure out how much concern you have in those areas, what type of plan you have in place, because that really determines if you should really engage help with a financial professional, either with it's us or someone else. That first call at the end of it, you will know, where are we in the world of retirement, either pre-retirement, retirement, and do we need help, and what does that look like? That's all encompassed in our discovery session, which is usually a 15 to 30 minute Zoom call.
Absolutely. It just starts remotely from wherever you are. That way you can click the link in the description of today's show to book that time at your convenience. It's very easy to do, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on an audio podcasting app. Again, just check the description for that link. Book a time with Scott and the team to have that conversation. Find out where you are now, where you need to go into the future, and how to piece all those things together. And then you can always come to the office if you like, there in the Kansas City area. We've had clients from well outside the area, Scott, drive in or even fly in to meet with you guys. But you can also, of course, just do this remotely as well, as Scott works with clients all across the country. So don't hesitate to reach out while you're thinking about it. Click the link in the description, set up that time to visit, and talk about the specifics of your financial plan in that discovery process. Scott, thanks for covering these 5 must-dos in year 1 of retirement, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Walter.
We'll see everybody next time right back here on your Retirement Elevated.
Are you on the path to retirement but feel uncertain about your direction? Don't let myths and misconceptions cloud your journey. Before stepping into a lengthy retirement, gain clarity and confidence with a complimentary financial review. Schedule a conversation with Scott Dugan. It's completely free. Just click the link in the description below or call us at 913-393-4724. Let's start a conversation about what's most important to you as you plan for a successful retirement.
This podcast has been prepared for educational and marketing purposes only. The information in this video is general in nature, does not constitute personalized investment advice, and does not provide a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. All investments involve risk, and different types of investments involve varying degrees of risk. There can be no assurance that any specific investment strategy will be profitable or suitable to you. Additionally, although information presented in this podcast is believed to be factual and up to date, we do not guarantee its accuracy. You should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation, and should consult a professional advisor before implementing any of the strategies mentioned in this video. Investment advisory services are offered through Elevated Capital Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor affiliated with Elevated Retirement Group LLC. Registration as an investment advisor does not constitute an endorsement of Elevated Capital Advisors LLC by securities regulators, nor does it indicate that the firm has attained a particular level of skill or ability. Insurance advice and products may be offered by a third-party insurance producer, which may be affiliated with Elevated Retirement Group LLC and Elevated Capital Advisors LLC. Walter Storholt, Mark Killian, and Third Wheel Media LLC are not clients of Elevated Capital Advisors. They receive cash compensation for their assistance in preparing and hosting this podcast, and for providing the endorsement contained in this podcast. Because Walter, Mark, and Third Wheel Media are compensated in connection with this podcast, they have a material conflict of interest in providing their endorsement.